What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you guys jumping on. I figured, Striper Man, you're first. Nice. Apologize that I'm looking up, but I have you guys up on my big monitor, and that's gonna help me see what's going on a little bit better. And for once, I actually got this live thing settled properly, and I can actually see what everybody's typing. Can you guys hear me? Okay. I'm gonna assume you can. Um, let's see here. So. Sweet. What's going on, Chuck? Striper Man, Sam, Queen, Scott, Siggy53 from Germany. I was wondering where you were from, buddy. Yeah, great. Um, what's going on? Hey, Nate. What's going on, everyone? Dad, Grace, thanks for joining. Appreciate everybody getting on here tonight. Everybody jumped on quick. It's what happens when you actually start telling people you're coming on a little bit sooner than just popping on just out of the blue. What's going on, Ned? What's happening? So I assume everybody can hear me. Yes, I got a thumbs up from Sam Queen. So I'll just keep talking. What's up, non-engineer? Hey, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. So so I figured I'd get on here today since we haven't done a live that was planned in a while. Just pop live. Yeah, I know, and that's not a bad way to go, Chuck. I mean, just popping up is not a bad deal. But I wanted to talk about a couple things. The first one was just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a life update of what's going on. And sorry, my legs are bouncing. That's why my screen's bouncing around. I'll get my hands off the desk. But I want to talk a little bit about some things that are going to be changing for me and why I'm not going to be online very much over the next couple of months. And then I also want to talk a little bit about GIE and some of the stuff that we experienced there. It was actually a lot of fun. Got to meet a lot of cool people, Chuck being one of them from Daddying All Day. So I want to talk a little bit about GIE. It was a cool experience, lots of fun there. And then just something that's been on my mind, and I figured I wanted to kind of talk through it. So we're still good, right? From a sound perspective, looks like it. And Nate, yes, for once I actually got the chat to work for me as opposed to sitting there trying to pull up my phone. So I'm just not going to touch anything, and hopefully everything just works. That's kind of the plan. So before we get started, what's going on? How's everybody's lawn season going? Everybody's coming to an end here pretty quick, right? Anybody got anything special going on? I mean, we're in Nashville. Chuck is in Knoxville, so we kind of similar climates. I think Chuck's a little bit higher elevation from Daddying All Day. He's going to experience things a little bit different than I do. But in the transition zone, we go from being nothing to being cold, and that's kind of what's happened today. It's all of a sudden like 48 degrees all day long. So you're raking leaves. I've been raking leaves all summer because of all the crap that was going on with my trees. So now it's just starting to accelerate a little bit. Yeah, Striper Man, you ended in July when you killed everything, but it's going to be great. We know it is. Urban Dad, you got a heavy frost. Wow, already. Yeah, I totally forgot about my sprinklers. I just got these sprinklers, and so I've got to do something about that. Have a plan for it. Yeah, low 30s. I think we're supposed to have a freeze warning here, so we're going to be kind of the same idea. Let me push this down just a little bit. We're going to be the same idea here. 47 in Mass. What else? Trying to get your KGB going to fill in. Yeah, I did a mix of KGB and perennial ryegrass, and the gaps are having a hard time, but I am seeing I'm seeing patchy KGB, and the perennial ryegrass is solid for now, but I know that that's going to go away once it starts getting pretty warm here. Yeah, Scott, that's a good point. So Striper Man, you're you're planting rows of crop there in your front lawn. So we can't wait to see that harvest for you. But anyway, it looks like we got pretty much people that are going to show up. So I figure I'll go ahead and just start. So one of the things I want to share with you guys, and some of the guys that were at, and gals that were at GIE, I kind of share this with them, but I'm actually going to be out of commission for the next couple of months. Being an old man, it's actually caught up with me, and it looks like I'm not. It doesn't look like it's happening. A week from tomorrow, I'm getting a knee replacement for my left knee. And so that's actually going to knock me out a little bit. It's really kind of funny because what was it? When I started the YouTube channel, I was in a boot for my Achilles, and that was also an old man thing because it wasn't like I wish I had a cool story as to how I injured my Achilles. I was chasing down a bad guy, and all of a sudden I felt something pop, and it wasn't like that. Unfortunately, it was just had a bone spur, and the only way to fix it is to take it all apart and put it back together, just like as if it was a ruptured Achilles. But for my knee, it's been just one of those long-term types of things. I've played soccer for 25 years. My parents are Brazilian. I grew up in Miami, and I played soccer my whole life, including in college. And then even after college, I played nothing professional, but just the adult leagues when I played with a bunch of old guys. But it's just worn out. I never had a knee injury. Had plenty of other bodily injuries from other stupid things that I've done, but the knee is just something that's just kind of worn out, and we've been putting it off. In fact, I was supposed to do it around when I had my Achilles, and we just decided, we just need to do the Achilles first. That was a bigger issue. And so we put that off. And now 2 years later, now that my Achilles is mostly healed, we're going to fix the knee. So that being said, I've got a bunch of stuff. I've been filming like crazy for me. I mean, I don't do that much filming, but I did a lot of filming. So I've got a lot of things in the queue between Lawn Shark and the shed out back, all the stuff that's going on with my shed. So, I've still got 3 videos left for that. And then if you guys see behind me here, you see that looks like sticks sticking out of the wall. Those are all brackets. So that's a project that I'm actually going to put on the shark shed, which is to share. I'm doing a shelving here in my office. And so that's going to be an interesting project that I should finish over the next couple of days. So that's something that I'm going to put out there. So Urban Dad played rugby professionally back in England. Wow. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I played football and soccer, and yeah, I can only imagine. Rugby is like a real man sport. That's next level type of stuff. Oh yeah, no, totally, Scott. I mean, I pop Advil like it's candy. I do them 4 at a time, and I do them a couple times a day when I'm doing. And yeah, that Reno. Luckily, it's not on my old yard. Was actually hurt me a lot more because of that big hill that I had. This yard is at least somewhat flat, so it wasn't as bad. But yeah, I made it through, and actually, I'm not too bad. I just wear out pretty quickly. So anyway, that's kind of the plan. It's gonna be interesting. The doctor kind of freaked me out last week when they told me they're not really fully knocking me out. I felt the heart palpitations when they said that, and it's basically they do knock you out, but it's not general anesthesia because they literally want to wake you up and have you walking almost immediately. So it's quite the surgery, but they also warned me don't watch videos about it, and I have not. I started to watch one. I saw the scalpel, I saw things splitting open, and I said, okay, we're done. We're not watching anymore. But yeah, there's my big thing about them when they said that they didn't think that they were gonna, or that they weren't going to knock me out all the way, was I said I don't want to hear any of this, right? Like we don't want to know. We don't want to hear power tools. We don't want to hear hammers because they have the whole the whole what do you call it, enchilada of tools for a replacement, because they're cutting stuff out and they're putting stuff back in, and yeah, we don't want to remember any of that stuff. But anyway, so I'll be pretty drugged up. I'll try to stay off of social media while I'm on drugs, because that could be entertaining, but it may get me in trouble. So I'll just stay off. But anyway, so that was the first thing I kind of wanted to share, and just so that when you guys see that I'm not online, I didn't quit. At least not permanently. I'm quitting for a couple months, but I will be putting out videos. It just, you're going to see stuff in the fall where I'm sweating, and it's like in December, because that's when I got to the editing, and it just is what it is. kind of word. He did a lot of that last year. He was putting out videos that were, early on in the season, and then he was putting them out pretty late. What's up, George from Princess Cut Lawn Care? Yeah, no, no way, dude. We're not doing. I would never. I did my wisdom teeth. Funny story is my sister had 5 wisdom teeth and I had 3, and we're not twins. So pretty crazy stuff. But yeah, dude, wisdom teeth, out. Now another funny story about wisdom teeth was I was 21 years old, and apparently when I came back to get the checkup, all the nurses were giggling when I walked into the doctor's office, and I asked them why is everything so funny, and apparently because I was pretty drugged up, I was hitting on all the nurses. I didn't care what they looked like, how old they were. That was me at 21. So anyway, we've grown up since then. That will not be happening during this surgery. But anyway, so that's just kind of the quick life update. Other than that, things are great. The house is coming along. We've got projects going, but everything's going to be on hold. Like I said, this project here behind me is going to be, one of like 4 videos. This will be 1 video, and then there's 3 other videos for this shed to finish that up. And then, yes, laughing gas is the best. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. Laughing gas can be very entertaining for all involved, especially when you're hitting on the nurses. But like I said, that was a younger Dino, not a current Dino. So I'm just looking around. My wife's still in the kitchen. She's listening to all this. She's already heard the story, so it's not a big deal. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on. The next thing was GIE, and the thing I want to tell you guys about GIE was it was a blast. And GIE was cool. Don't get me wrong. GIE was a lot of fun. We got to see all the equipment, got to ride some of the equipment. But I'll tell you what, man, meeting some of the folks that are in YouTube and in social media and all this other stuff, Instagrammers, it was just really cool to get to see everybody. And it was just, I highly recommend you guys going for no other reason than the camaraderie. But it was really cool, and it just kind of goes to show that there's a lot of great people in this lawn care community. We got to play around a lot. Turns out I have a superpower, and that's axe throwing. The whole axe throwing thing was a lot of fun. Nobody videoed me, and I was really disappointed. And I promise you, I can throw an axe, and I was pretty accurate. But it was a lot of fun, and I tried to film. If you guys watch the video of the last video I did for the actual GIE, and you see John Perry throwing an axe, I literally have my arms almost completely extended to get over him because that man is a little tall, and I'm not. I'm 5'10". I think he's like 6'8", so he's like a good foot taller than me, and his wingspan is way more than mine. But it was a great time hanging out with him as well. Let me see here what's going on here. So Scott and George, you guys are getting together? Anyway, yeah, so Scott, next year definitely go. Sorry, I'm trying to read all this. I'm a slow reader. Yeah, so there, Chuck from Daddy All Day, right there. He says he's proof that I can throw an axe. So never done it before, and everybody kept calling me a ringer, and I guarantee you, I can throw an axe. It was fun. And then hanging out with the guys at what do we do, Dave and Buster's. I really didn't play that much. I'm not a big gamer guy, but it was fun to just kind of hang out and see everybody's personalities come out. Let's see here. Yeah. So anyway, you guys would have a great time, and I look forward to next year. Hopefully we can get a lot more folks out there. But like I said, the one thing that was really cool about the whole experience was actually getting to meet everybody and just seeing everybody's personalities. And the thing I can tell you the most about the other YouTubers and the folks that are on Instagram is that what you see online is pretty much who they are in person. And I was really, really impressed with that. There were, with few exceptions, there was people were just great. They were great to hang out and just get to know them and see their personalities and laugh. I mean, got to meet all kinds of cool people. And so yeah, you got a budget for it. I mean, I'm pretty fortunate from where I am because of the fact that I'm only about 3 hours south of Louisville. So for me, it was pretty easy. And then got a really good deal on a hotel. And but as far as equipment was concerned, man, it was super cool. I mean, it was like nothing you will ever experience getting to ride whatever equipment is out there. And I mean, it was super windy. It said it was going to rain. It never rained. We're right by the airport. Got great shots of planes coming in pretty low, but I almost got distracted by watching planes instead of doing all the other stuff. But that's okay. It was a good time. Yeah, totally 100%. All the guys were great. Nobody's fake. No, everybody's just great people. So yeah, and Chuck did a lot of work. He got to play a little bit, but he was working. So but yeah, totally fun getting to know Chuck. Chuck, you and I are gonna have to do something in the spring together. Because we're only like 3 hours apart, and see if we can get together and do something. And then Russell, Papa Mo's Low, what's up? Glad you're on here. Yeah, and you're not too far from us either. You're just south from us. Yeah, Sam, you're in Nashville. I know you are. So we definitely need to get together. If nothing else, we should try and do some stuff in the spring. There's lots of stuff going on. Hope I'm not missing stuff. If I missed you guys on something that you're typing, just type it in again. Yeah, Scrubber Man, I know you're not fake. I know you go everywhere with that mask on. But hey, man, Keith is the best. Let's all agree that Keith, aka Scrubber Man, is the best. Yeah, Keith, you'll have to wear the mask and the cape next year for sure. If you go, you gotta go all in. You don't have to go all in. So the last thing that I was going to talk about, and we can keep talking, but the other thing that I had kind of on my agenda was something that was kind of bothering me, and I was kind of hoping there would be some other folks on here, but that's okay because I'm sure people will watch this later. But something that's been kind of bothering me lately is just as good as the folks are in the lawn community, I will say that it's been a little troubling some of the drama that we've been getting in the lawn care community lately. And I'm seeing it on Facebook, or I'm seeing people talk about it on Facebook. I'm seeing some of it on Instagram. Saw a little bit of drama at GIE. But here's what I'm going to say to everybody. And this is like coming from a guy that's, I'll be 54 in December. I know it's hard to believe that this pretty face is that old. But yes, I'm going to be 54 in December. So I've been around the sun a couple times. And here's what I'll say is I'm not going to sit there and talk, reprimand anybody that is, maybe not being so nice online. But what I am going to say is the folks that are online and you guys are experiencing some of the backlash or whatever from these folks or from somebody else, I think the biggest thing is you just got to brush it off. And I know that's easier said than done and I'll tell you, for me personally, it's way easier said than done because I'm the definition of a sheepdog. I don't like seeing stuff going on around me, and my first instinct is to just deal with it. But the reality of it is that when it comes to being online and when you start posting stuff, and that goes for Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or whatever, you just got to understand that you're putting yourself out there. And what moisturizer do I use? Soap and water. That's what I use. It's the Brazilian jeans that keeps me young. But obviously not that young because I've got 80-year-old knees that are going to get replaced, or an 80-year-old knee that's going to get replaced next week. But anyway, so I will say this is like, look, there's a lot of folks out there that are going to support you no matter what. And I'm talking about people like Keith. Like I just said, Keith Strawberman is one of the most encouraging guys out there. He is never going to say a bad word about anybody. And he's going to continue to be encouraging. And Keith is just one example of many. Pretty much everybody that's on here right now, you guys are all great encouragers. And what I would say is, go out there, and the folks that feel like they're getting beat down, encourage them. Now, for those of you that are getting bad stuff, I mean, George, you grew like super fast. I mean, George was just, he has a lot less videos than I have out there, and he's grown quite a bit fast. I'm sure he gets a boatload of hate comments and everything else. And the thing is, he's expecting it to be out there, right? So you're out there, you're putting stuff out, and you're gonna get hate. You just gotta blow it off. Here's the thing: is my policy right now is I will block you faster than you can blink if you're not nice. And that's the only recommendation I can tell people. Now, for if anybody's on here that's not being nice, I say stop it. You know what I mean? It's like this is grass. Now, I will say that there are some folks out there that are less than kind, and that's just the way that they do things, and that's the way that they're trying to grow their brand and their channel. I don't necessarily agree that that's how they should be doing it, but they're doing it. And you know what? It's gonna their channel's gonna grow and their platform is gonna grow. It's just not the way that I would do things. But you also have to kind of take that into account too, that maybe that's just their method of growing, and more power to them, and then you just move on. But the worst thing that you can do is engage. I've learned the hard way, and again, easier said than done. I have learned to not engage with the knuckleheads. I mean, let them be who they are, and you just continue being who you are, and that's going to show in your platform. So that's I don't want to be too preachy or get start lecturing anybody. That's not my intent. I'm here. I really just want to encourage people to continue to do what you're doing and just be good at what you're doing. And then that's the end of that. Let everybody else, be the knuckleheads. Let them come across as being somebody that's not nice, and just move on. But I will always try to be the person that stands up for everybody else and tries to encourage them. And if I have something bad to say, I'm gonna reach out to you privately, not publicly, because that doesn't fix anything. So that's it. So drama, everybody hates drama. That's good. So Brooklyn boy, yes, I'm originally from New York. I was born in Queens. I grew up in Miami, which is basically South New York. What else here? Yes, Brazilian, George. I saw the comment. Yes, you are correct. Not me, but yes. Yeah, Keith is always about encouragement, man. He always has been, always will be. So Nate, you're all done with your leaves. Great. George. See, George, you're one of the first channels that Papa Mo's Low was followed, and I think that's awesome. I mean, you hit the ground running. You've done just a great job, man. I really do. I think that everything that you do is done with quality, and I just think that you deserve everything that you're getting there. Thanks, Green M. Yeah, that's great. Urban Dad, don't engage. I mean, just let them be who they're going to be. Yeah, George, way to take care of that for Scott. I mean, people will try and steal all kinds of stuff on these. It's easy to do, right? You can sit there and put yourself out there as somebody else that you're not. So, Ned, yes, I speak Portuguese. I'm fluent. My parents are both Brazilian. My dad's from Rio. My mom's from a town called Salvador in northern Brazil. Spent all my summers down there, so I'm fluent. But my parents are both deceased, and so I used to practice speaking with my mom all the time. So when I speak now, it takes me a minute to get my brain moving in the right direction. And then, of course, I definitely don't sound Brazilian when I speak Portuguese, but they know I can speak it all. Grace, you grew up in Manhattan. Sweet. I actually was born in Astoria in Queens, and then I actually moved back to New York back in 2005. I used to run a Home Depot. Worked for Home Depot for a few years. I ran a Home Depot in the Bronx. I'm going to write a book about my experience as a Home Depot store manager in the Bronx one day, because the truth is you can't make this stuff up. So, yeah, that's good. Sorry, one of the comments looked like YouTube flagged it for a second, but there's nothing wrong with it. Just sometimes they false tag a comment, but I let it go. But yeah, so so I grew up in I grew up in Miami, and then I ran a store in the Bronx. That was a treat. Got to learn a lot about a lot of things, and then we moved back to Atlanta. So where haven't I lived, Nate? Not a lot of places. I've actually lived all over the country. This is my seventh state. I've lived in 18 houses. Um, what else? Yeah, I mean, I've lived in every time zone. I haven't lived in Hawaii or Alaska, but other than that, I've lived in like 7 states. I've lived all over the place. Yeah, so I've gotten experience most of the country. Um, yeah, man, Papa Mo's Low, please give me a shout out, and we'll definitely get together. Not for the next month and a half. I will be out of it. I mean, maybe the next couple weeks would be fun when I'll be drugged up for my knee. But other than that, I mean, maybe in the spring we can all get together or something. What else? So that's it. Those are the things I kind of want to talk about. I mean, we don't have to get off of this at all. Any questions? Anybody have anything they want to add? Or I'll just sit here and read some of the comments. I kind of skimmed through some, so I apologize if I didn't acknowledge everything you all said. I'll go back and read through them. You had Bermuda at the old house. How come you went with RPR? So the reason why I went with RPR was because I wanted to try it out for one. I did put RPR last year where my putting green was. And so I liked it. But the main reason why I didn't do Bermuda, and I may still go back to Bermuda, is because my next door neighbor is fescue. And I didn't want to put Bermuda in my lawn because then she would get Bermuda. Well, it turns out she's got a bunch of Bermuda that she didn't realize. So if RPR doesn't do well this next spring and when it starts getting really hot, I'll switch back to Bermuda, and I'll probably go to one of the good hybrids after that. Yeah, it's definitely got to get warmer before we go out and do much of anything. And that was for Papa Moslow. Chuck, see you, man. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you being on here. So George, as far as the rye, how do you think it'll hold up? I honestly don't think it'll do well once July hits here. It gets pretty hot here, and I don't think the heat is necessarily the problem. I think the biggest problem with the RPR here is the sustained heat. I think if it just got hot for a few weeks, no big deal. But the problem is that starting in June, we could be in the 90s for 3 months. And I think that's where the rye will probably, like this year when it didn't survive in the back. I had put it out too late and it didn't survive. And I think even if I had done it early like I did this year, I'm not sure that any perennial rye will survive in the back. But I do have irrigation, and my philosophy, and this is a lot of philosophies out there, is that it's just grass. So if it all dies and I show a video with dirt again, we'll start over and we'll do something else, and we'll go back to fescue in the back and Bermuda in the front. And then I'll just do RPR as an overseed for the fall so that things stay green. So I don't know, to answer your question, George. I don't think it'll do well, but it's just grass. Grace, you're asking how the drainage issue is. It's not awesome. The grass established enough that it's still somewhat green, but like we got rain this past week. We got one day of like a heavy rain. And if I go out there right now and showed you, you can see where it's kind of washed out a little bit, but the grass is still there. It's going to continue to be an issue. So once my knee heals up and I start out again in the spring, my wife and I are going to trench it all out, put in drainage, run it all the way across the back, and then run it to the front of the house. But that's going to take a little bit of time and energy that I'm running out of time. Like a week from tomorrow, I will be out. So we had to pick our battles. This is more important because it's my office and I'm going to be inside for a long time. So I had to get these shelves done. And then we'll pick up the lawn again in the spring and deal with all the drainage issues then. See you, Scott. Thanks for joining, bud. Appreciate it. And appreciate the well wishes. So Brooklyn boy, California mandated electric outdoor equipment. Your opinion? So interesting. Great question. So as far as electric equipment, up until I went to GIE, I was really annoyed. You know what I mean? I'm like, come on, people, we can't do this. But after going to GIE and seeing how much electrical equipment is out there, what the battery technology looks like, how things are progressing, I think that we're going to be okay. It's just expensive, right? And this is just my opinion. I think battery is great. I mean, I understand it from a green technology standpoint, why it's beneficial, but nobody's addressing the disposal aspects of it. And I think the more you bring in battery into the equation, you're going to have to address the disposal of batteries. And I don't think that they're doing a good enough job with that yet. So that's my opinion. I think the equipment is great from a torque standpoint, from a power, no issues whatsoever. It's really comes down to how long can you run that power, and some of the battery technology has been pretty impressive. There was one riding mower. It was a zero turn. I forgot the name of the company. I think I took a picture of it. And this battery was massive. It was like 100 pounds, but it lasted all day. So, that's got to get better. But from a torque perspective, I think that we're good to go. Let's see here. Yeah, George. I mean, you're the same thing as me. I mean, I know Chicago's a lot cooler, but you guys get brutal summers too. So I can see why the rye would be a concern even in Chicago. Thanks, Organic Lawn Warrior. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, definitely more content. Exactly. And that's why I don't have a problem. I mean, like I said, it's just grass. If I kill it and I've got to restart, I'll restart. Not a big deal. Elevated Landscapes. What's up, buddy? Glad you could join. Yeah, Grace saying hey to Cam. And Cam is Elevated Landscape. So and it's not a big deal. I'm not complaining. But it's funny because when I get on people's lives and they all know me as Dino, they go, "Hey, Dino, what's up?" And I'm messaging in as a lawn shark. Well, people don't correlate the two sometimes. That when they're talking to Dino, they're really talking to the lawn shark. So I try as long as I'm comfortable with knowing what everybody's names is. I try to correlate the names that people call each other so that everybody knows who they are. So, yeah, definitely, Nate. If you want to be entertained, text me next Friday. Anybody wants to message me on Instagram next Friday, all I can do is warn you that there's no telling what kind of texts are going to come back. So Cam, you just joined, just so you know, I'm getting knee replacement next week. So we're just talking about how I'm going to be a little bit limited on content and all that stuff. So that's why the comments are coming in and people are saying, "Hey, let's message Dino next week. Let's do that." And you'll definitely be entertained by my responses, probably. Potentially, I'm debating on maybe, making sure I don't do any live videos at all on Instagram. That may be a problem. Thanks, Keith. I appreciate that. What am I wearing? I'm wearing a Yankees hat. Am I lawn shark? Is that what? Oh, next week you're gonna ask me that question. Yeah, no, don't do that. All right, man. Go for it, Papa Mos. I'm just saying, if you guys are comfortable with messaging me next week, just I can't be held responsible, and no screenshots. I do not want to see screenshots set up of like, "Hey, did you see what Dino's response was?" Yeah, I got that. I figured that out. I was like, wasn't sure where that question was, Nate, but I get that's what you're going to ask me next week. You go for it, man. I'll allow it. So, Cam, what's going on with you out there? You got spring or not spring, fall prep? Good. I had asked the question earlier. That's why I'm asking you, because you just got on. But yeah. So anything else? Anything else anybody else wants to? Thanks, Cam. I appreciate that. Yeah, the recovery is almost indisputable that it's going to be fine. It's just a brutal surgery. My doc basically said, "You're going to hate me for 2 weeks. And then after that, I'll hate him less and I'll hate my PT more." But my physical therapist is the same one that did my Achilles, and she's about 5'0" and she will hurt me. I know she will, but that's okay. She knows that if I'm not complaining, she's not working hard enough. So that's the key to getting me back straight after surgery. But yeah, and then I'll have to carry around a card every time I go to the airport because I will be scanning hot. when I go through like X-ray machines. Um, Weather in Tennessee is cloudy right now. It was a high of 48 today, which is chilly, but we're due. But my grass is still growing. I'm still mowing it every 2 days. So, and then we're going to be back at the 70 on Monday, which is typical for Tennessee. If you don't like the weather in Tennessee, wait 10 minutes. It'll be different. So I think that's it. I mean, I think the numbers are starting to drop off. I appreciate you guys getting on. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. I definitely appreciate you guys taking the time to chat with me and all the well wishes. I did 100% for my Achilles surgery last December. Yeah, Achilles is a year recovery, man. It is a brutal recovery. But the drugs are great, and I mean the ones that they inject in your knee, not the other ones. First frost for you, Cam. Cool. All right, man. Sam, take care. Appreciate it. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Urban Dad. And then Guido Pride. That's right. So thanks, Brooklyn Boy. But yeah, so like I said, I really appreciate everybody that jumps on and supports the channel and all the things you guys are doing. Like I said before, let the haters hate. Just be you. Remember you represent your brand, whether you're representing in content or in your posts or whatever, but you also represent your brand in the way that you respond to others, and let them be who they are and you be who you are, and just always portray a positive energy. Those are the folks that I follow the most, the folks that I enjoy the most, are the people that are positive online. And I'm okay if people tell me I'm doing something wrong. I really am. And I love having conversations, especially when I'm doing something that somebody may disagree with, because I may be wrong in the way I'm doing things. But just continue to be positive, and things work out for the best that way. So anyway, I think that's all we're going to do for today. Like I said, I really appreciate everybody jumping on and being supportive. And I will be posting stuff next week that will be a little bit out of context, but YouTube will hate it, or not YouTube, Instagram. I won't do anything on YouTube as far as my leg is concerned, at least not on the Lawn Shark channel. And then, but I'll be posting stuff on Instagram. Oh, speaking of which, if I won't do anything on Lawn Shark as far as my recovery is concerned, but I will do it on my personal page. So if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, on my personal page, it's Dino Evangelista is my handle on there, and I'll post that in the description when this goes as a regular video. So if you guys want to check that out, keep in mind that is my personal page. So I say what I want on that page. I'll leave it at that. So if you don't like it, just keep swiping. It's all good. But yeah. So anyway, with that, I think I'm going to sign off. You guys have a great night. Thanks again for joining, and we will see you on the next one. Don't forget to hit that bell. No, I'm not going to put that up. But anyway, all right, guys. See ya. Oh, and thanks, Grace.